Hello, and welcome to another Nikke video. Rosanna's skills have finally been officially released, and just going to give a quick discussion about them. Hope you enjoy the video. I can see why they waited so long to release the skills compared to the bunnies. She is really going to be used just for PvP, it seems. But she's an attacker, a burst 1. Her weapon is a machine gun, so it's going to be similar to Diesel and Emma, and her code's going to be electric. But if we look at the first skill here, it's on the lamb and it's passive. It says activates after landing 120 normal attacks, affects self. Concealment prevents self from being the target of single attacks for 10 seconds, loses effect when the caster takes damage. Critical rate 19.34% for 3 seconds. Activates after landing 10 normal attacks, affects 2 enemy units with the highest attack. It dispels 5 buffs, activates 1 time per battle. So with the 120 normal attacks, there's other units that do something similar to this. So for example, Soda, after she attacks a large amount of time, I think it's over 100, she does heal. And also Makima, after she attacks 120 times, she does cast a taunt. So for her, after she does 120 normal attacks, she will be placed in concealment, and concealment is pretty much she will not be targeted, similar to what Viper does. And also as well, she's just that. But I mean, the critical rate is actually pretty good. The only thing is that since she's a machine gun, she's not going to do that much damage. Since machine guns have a lot of ammo, so they just do a little bit of damage each shot. So it will increase her damage a bit, but for 3 seconds, it's really not enough. And for her second effect there, where it says dispels buffs, yeah, it's going to be really handy in PvP since in the beginning of the battle, usually everyone's getting buffs, everyone's stacking, and with this, that could immediately dispel it. But in the regular battles, usually a lot of the bosses and enemies don't have a lot of buffs. I mean, they buff themselves a little bit, but for regular units, like the enemies, they don't buff themselves that much at all. But the concealment will help out with this second skill here. With the second skill is Capo Dai Capi. I probably butchered that. It's a passive. Activates when entering battle. Affects self. Concealment prevents self from being the target of single target attacks for 5 seconds. Loses effect when the caster takes damage. Activates when a Nikke is out of action. Affects self. Frenzy attack up 22.61%. Stacks up to 10 times and lasts for 30 seconds. Fills burst gauge by 36.54. So pretty much as soon as the battle begins, she will not be able to be targeted. So if you put her in the first slot, it's going to go immediately to the second or to the last, or whatever the AI decides to attack. And depending on how fast she shoots, which I don't know if she's going to reach 120 normal attacks within those 5 seconds. But if it does happen to reach there, then technically it'll be 15 seconds of concealment. But with the second part of the condition where it says loses effect when the caster takes damage, since the enemy teams aren't going to attack her for the first 5 seconds. Fortunately, I believe this is going to lose effect for the rocket launcher. So if whatever Nikke she's next to and then gets attacked, and with the splash damage, that will hit her and that will lose the effect. Yeah, a lot of the burst 3s have AoEs, so that will hit her. Yeah, she cannot dodge that. And what makes her powerful with the PvP is that where it says activates when a Nikke is out of action, that's also going to count, I believe, for the enemy team. So since there's 10 Nikkes there, I mean, including herself, each time one gets down, she's going to get powered up by 20, a little over 22% there. And only that, it will fill the burst gauge as well. What they're not saying here as well is that for any units that do revive, so for example, Rapunzel, or for Christmas Annie, I believe there's one more, that do revive, that's going to give an extra Nikke that's able to power up as well to give her another stack. So since a lot of PvP teams have Rapunzel on them, I mean, yeah, she'll be able to dish out a lot of damage. But of course, since she is a machine gun unit, her base damage isn't quite that much. She won't be able to wreak havoc to somebody who maybe is who's a shotgun or a sniper, for example. But she will be having more damage than a regular machine gun as it is, and the fills a burst gauge does come quite in handy. But unfortunately, a lot of the PvP battles, they end pretty quickly. I mean, it's either shut out at the beginning, or if not, it's noise versus noise, hitting each other over and over until time runs out. And the last one is going to be a burst skill Vendetta, cooldown for 40 seconds. And it says affects 2 attacker enemy units, deals a little over 1300 damage of attack. And then it says affects the same target when in concealment. It says deals 561% of attack as additional damage. So how I was saying earlier is if she's able to attack quickly enough, it's going to be 15 seconds of concealment, which is way more than enough time to go ahead and let the burst be active. If she is in that burst 1 slot, then technically she would have over 1800% of damage right away within that time. And unfortunately, since there's still a downtime before you're able to use a new burst, even if those Nikkes die, the effect for skill number 2 where it says filled burst gauge, I believe that won't come in effect since there is a cooldown for them to be put on. So that's the sort of downside of having that, since you have to have that cooldown and you have to wait for the cooldown to pass before the burst gauge is able to fill up again. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for Rosanna. I mean, I love her character design. I mean, I love the gun that she uses. The Tommy gun is just it's a really nice design, but unfortunately her skills, I could see not a lot of people using her, unfortunately, since not a lot of people participate in the PvP. And when I say participate, I mean actually try and want to be number 1. Since for depending on what shard you are, it's either a dead shard, or if not, it's filled with whales and you're never going to compete unless you spend a lot of money. So with them, I could see getting this unit, but for everyone else, I don't think a lot of people are gonna want to. I mean, you're more than welcome to do it. I might try 1 or 2 just to see how I do. But with the future units coming out, I believe it's gonna be the limited summer. I hear that's coming out soon. They haven't released anything official yet, but that's what I've been hearing. And only that, for sure, like the collab unit that's gonna be coming out later in the year. So yeah, it's up to you if you want to pull on this or not. I don't see her as a main priority unless you're heavily into PvP. But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoy the video, and I'll see you next time. Scrublord out.
All right. I believe you. But my Tommy gun don't.